On today's episode, we will be breaking down the best offensive players in the 2026 NFL draft. And if you're watching this before the draft, don't you worry, because we're going to have some sleepers so you can kind of gauge if your team drafted these guys, if your team didn't draft these guys, if your team drafted some of these guys that I think are incredibly overrated. Your team might have fucked up if they didn't and they drafted some of these guys that I think are really slept on day 3 and 4. Or day, 2 and 3, not 3 and 4, but rounds 3, 4, 5, then your team hit it out of the park. So without further ado, let's get into it. And let's just start with the quarterbacks straight up, okay? This is the worst quarterback class since the Kenny Pickett class, but I'm pretty sure Brock Purdy was in that QB class as well. Fernando Mendoza is the guy. I'm telling you, I don't care that Dan Orlovsky wants to get on his knees for Ty Simpson because they're ran by both of their agencies. They're under the same agency, and he's just on his knees. And two things can be true at once. Did Ty Simpson run a more NFL-style offense? Well, yeah. Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, was also an offensive coordinator for Seattle a year ago. He was the offensive coordinator with Kalen DeBoer in Washington. When Michael Penix had Jalen Polk, Rome Odunze. I'm forgetting the other wide receiver they had that also got drafted that was really nasty. But either way, Jalen McMillan for the Bucs. So, yeah, it was a more NFL-style offense where he's going to have to go through reads, drop back, play under center. That's not what Fernando Mendoza was in. Fernando Mendoza operated in a way more college-style, RPO-heavy, one-read, tuck-and-run type of offense. And that's just what he was asked to do, and he did it at a really high level. But you can't say that because Fernando Mendoza wasn't asked to run an NFL-style offense, that means he can't do it. Because the kid is obviously incredibly smart. He got way better from his last year at Cal to this year at Indiana, and it comes down to traits. He's 6'5". He has great arm strength. His release is wicked fast. He has great accuracy. He can put the ball on the back shoulder. He can drive the ball over the middle of the field. He obviously can run an RPO really efficiently because, gosh darn it, they just spam the RPO. He's more mobile than a lot of people give him credit for, but I do understand the concerns with Mendoza when it comes to, okay, he's a one-read, tuck-and-go type of guy, because you do see that a lot. Like when he has to get to his second read, he can panic. His pocket presence is not good. And if he wants to elevate and be a really productive pocket passer, his feet have to match with his brain. His internal clock needs some speeding up, and he needs to improve on his pocket presence. And that is what makes Joe Burrow so elite. It's not that he has the escapability in the pocket the way Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes does. I would argue he doesn't even have as strong an arm as Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen does. He's not hitting the sidearm throws, the arm angle, the wicked arm angle. Where Joe Burrow kills people is with his presence in the pocket. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Joe Burrow's pocket presence is Tom Brady-esque, his movement in the pocket. Joe Burrow, in a way, is this generation's Tom Brady, but obviously he's not the GOAT. Like, he's not at that level. But in terms of his processing, and he also has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We can't just ignore that. That obviously helps him. But his processing, when he's on, he's just doesn't miss. Deadly accurate, elite pocket presence. The style of play is very similar to Tom Brady's. The only difference is Tom Brady had a top 10 defense every year he won a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's defense couldn't stop a boat. I'm getting my anagrams mixed up here. The defense sucked. It's garbage. It's awful. And there's other differences too. Tom Brady's probably a little bit more accurate, a better processor, better competitor, all that. But if Mendoza wants to take it to the next step, and nobody's really talking about Mendoza because he's been penciled in as the number 1 pick for so long. If Mendoza really wants to be an elite quarterback at the next level, he needs to improve his pocket presence, his pocket awareness, and he needs to get his feet synced up with his arm, synced up with his brain, and his brain needs to get up to the same speed that his release is at. So I could understand why, if you just watch the film, it's a lot of QB draw, back shoulder RPO with Mendoza, and Ty Simpson's putting the ball into some tight windows over the middle of the field. It's more NFL style of concepts, and that's because of the offense that they were in. That doesn't mean Fernando Mendoza can't run it. And Ty Simpson also put the ball in harm's way a lot more than the interception numbers give it credit for. He was underthrowing a lot of passes. He thinks he has the arm of Josh Allen. His arm is closer to Tua Tagovailoa. Now, he does have a strong arm. I'm not saying he doesn't. He's really athletic, moving out to his right or his left. He can flip his hips, and throw the ball on a rope. So I think Ty Simpson, who needs to sit for a year or two, can be a franchise quarterback. And I think we have 2.5 I would say we have there's going to be two franchise quarterbacks in this draft. And I think one of them is Mendoza. Half of one is Ty Simpson. And the other half is Garrett Nussmeier. And Garrett Nussmeier had a cyst on his spine that was impacting his oblique, and it was described as a stabbing pain every time he threw the football. You have this encompassed with what a year was, what the offense was last year for LSU. Without Aaron Anderson, his number one receiving option for a good portion of the year. With two true freshmen starting at left and right tackle, and with a coach that every single LSU player seems to hate, I could understand now. And all of that, and he had a cyst on his back that felt like a stabbing pain in his oblique every time he was throwing the football. I could understand why maybe Garrett Nussmeier didn't have the best season yet last year. And it could be a blessing in disguise for a QB needy team, Pittsburgh, the Jets, the Cardinals. Because maybe if you just go based off the 2024 Garrett Nussmeier that we saw, which again wasn't perfect, but it was good. There's a lot of good Garrett Nussmeier tape out there. Maybe it warrants a second look at him on day 2 or 3. Probably day 2. I'd be shocked if he gets to day 3. Garrett Nussmeier, accurate. Where are my notes on this dude? Accurate, can flip his hips, good arm strength. Where the fuck? Good accuracy, throwing on the run. There we go. Was playing behind bad offensive line in 25, has good arm strength. Doubt he will have any mobility at the next level. We need to operate as a pocket passer, but his pocket presence is not great. His accuracy is average at best. Great accuracy throwing on the run. He can layer throws. He has that touch ability to his game. Sometimes he doesn't step into his throws. His release is average. He's always like there was times in 24 where he's like leaning back. Like the deep ball accuracy is really inconsistent. The decision making is questionable. He didn't get a whole lot better from 25 to 24, but again, now we know that he had a cyst on his back, hindering his throwing motion. Needs to develop as a pocket passer. Presence, mechanics, throws off his back foot a lot, scared of getting hit a lot, doesn't step into pressure, doesn't step into throws the way that Ty Simpson or Fernando Mendoza does. But Garrett Nussmeier had some really, really high highs on tape a couple of years ago. The lows are also really, really low. I think he's comfortably QB3. Cade Klubnik stinks. Good mobility and escapability. 0 touch, inaccurate, bad decisions, should go undrafted. Taylen Green should be a wide receiver. I'm sorry. Taylen Green is just straight up awful. That guy couldn't hit water if he fell out of the boat. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if he had a minigun from Fortnite. Back when minigun was the meta in Fortnite. Full clip, 160 rounds. If he's standing 10 feet away from a barn, he still couldn't hit it. He stinks. He stinks. Now, if you just watch the highlights, you'll think, okay, this guy's the greatest QB in the history of the world. Go watch him against Memphis. Go watch him against Texas. Multiple times this year. Arkansas had a pretty good offensive. Like they had some guys. They had some players. They had a good, a decent roster. Taylen Green and the defense stunk, but Taylen Green was also selling. He is awful, but he does have traits. 770 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 2,700 passing yards, 60% completion percentage. And the dude just makes dumb decisions. Stupid turnovers. Against Memphis, they threw that game away. He's just bad. He is bad. There's another quarterback out of North Dakota State that I guess we can talk about briefly. He's a lefty. His throwing motion is whack. He lobs balls in there. It's not exactly, he doesn't throw bullets. Slow ass release. Doesn't drive the ball. Accurate deep down the field, though. Cole Payton is his name. 6'3", 232, so good size, 70% completion percentage. He is accurate. Again, this is against garbage competition. It's FCS out of North Dakota State. Doesn't turn the ball over. 2,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 193 passer rating, which is crazy. 4 interceptions. Not the greatest in mobility. He was slow evading pressure at the FCS level. I can only imagine what that means at the FBS level, right? So not totally sold on Cole Payton at all. Shout out Bryce Lance. And that's a good segue. Let's get in to the wide receivers now. And this is the group I've done the most extensive scouting on. So I'm pretty confident in my list here. We'll start with a sleeper. Or the first sleeper of the day, of the episode. Unless you want to count Garrett Nussmeier. I wouldn't count him as one of my sleepers. Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State. This dude averaged 21 yards a catch. 51 catches, 51 catches, 1,000 yards, 6'3", 204, ran a 4.340. Not the strongest of hands, body catcher, can take the top off a defense. Great, great physicality for his size, but again, it's against FCS competition, so it's really hard to gauge just how solid he is. But Bryce Lance on day 5 or 6 could be, or day 5, round 5 or 6 could be an absolute steal for a team. 21 yards a catch, 6.343. And I just want to talk about him while we're in it. But let's get to the wide receiver rankings, and you know where this is going. You know where this is going. So let's just start really, really quickly. Let me get to my big board. Let me just go through my rankings, and we'll break down each player individually. I have a top 11. I haven't ranked Zachariah Branch because I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is. He seems like a gadget guy. He seems like a gadget yak guy, like a Malachi Corley, but he's better than Malachi Corley because he did it against better comp. Really hard to tackle. Couldn't tackle him in a phone booth, but can he stretch the field? Can he get open? How are his hands in the contested catch game? He's small. Can he be more than just a slot receiver? I don't know. Maybe he provides a spark on special teams. Hard to rank Zachariah Branch. I talked about Bryce Lance Jr. Elijah Surratt wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Malachi Fields wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Those guys are undraftable to me. Chris Bell at 11. Good yak guy. Physical at the catch point. Good back shoulder. A lot of body catching out of Chris Bell. Let's just go through it, and then we'll talk about each receiver. Skylar Bell at 10. Jeremy Bernard at 9. Jacoby Lane at 8. Denzel Boston at 7. Chris Brazzell at 6. Omar Cooper Jr. at 5. Casey Concepcion at 4. Makai Lemon at 3. Carnell Tate at 2. Jordan Tyson at 1. And I won't talk about the top 3 guys so much. If you want to listen to those, if you want to listen to me break down those guys, I've talked about them at nauseum on my channel. So make sure you subscribe, head over, and just scroll a little bit, and you'll see them. Are actually, no, I'm not. I was going to say I'll pop the video up right here, but I'm too lazy to do that. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk about them, but not in full in depth. I've broken down those guys multiple times. So go on my channel if you want to find out how I feel about those guys in particular. But let's start with Skylar Bell out of UConn. My only concern with Skylar Bell, there's 2 of them. The competition he played, which was awful, and then the amount of time it took for him to break out. 3 years at Wisconsin, 2 years at UConn. He didn't break out until he transferred to UConn. He had 860 yards in 2024. He had 1,200 yards on 13 touchdowns on 12 yards per catch in 2025. He has some spectacular catches on tape. He really does. There was one catch against Syracuse where he caught it with one hand that was just absolutely silly. He has good vertical speed. He can stretch the field. He ran I can stretch the field type of 40 time. But against Power 4 comp, it's just hard to gauge. He was incredibly clutch against Duke and Syracuse down the stretch in those games. He is a good route runner. It's just the separation is a little questionable. The ball tracking ability is solid. His hands are really strong. I just have a hard time rating a guy who not only didn't produce against good competition consistently, but only produced in good competition when he was a senior and in his fifth year at UConn, not Wisconsin. It's a little bit concerning, but the athleticism is there. The traits are there. He's worth probably a 4th, 5th round pick. I wouldn't mind if you're a wide receiver needy team and you need some size and some speed, or some speed more than anything. Chris Bell, body catcher. His hands need improvement, but he's a bowling ball with the ball in his hands. Good speed, really, really high motor as well. A lot of extreme movement in his route running. Nothing crisp, nothing sharp in Chris Bell's route running. He has some dumb penalties, a blindside block, some stupid celebrations, which I'm a celebration guy, but the NFL's the rules are dumb. Number one, you know the rules. Don't be dumb. Not the strongest hands to the catch point, not going to be a contested catch guy. Does he have the ability to be more than a gadget guy reliant on his yak? And I've talked about this at nauseum, but if this is your first time listening to me, if yak is the number one trait you bring to the table, that's your main trait, I can't trust you in the NFL level. You need to be able to separate. Chris Bell does not have the ability to separate against a good comp. He just not. But when he gets the ball in his hand, fuck, is he explosive. And can he just run through your face, make you miss an open space? He had a touchdown. I think it was against one of the better teams on Louisville. I think it was against Miami, where it was Debo Jamar Chase-esque, the way he just ran away from everybody. His ball carrier vision is next. He turns into a running back when he gets the ball, but he needs development in his route running. He needs development in his release off the line. It's a lot of drag routes that he just took to the house, a lot of quick slants he just took to the house. Really good in the short passing game. He is, but he's intermediate to deeper routes over the middle of the field remain a mystery to me. And I just can't take a guy who's so dependent on his yards after catch ability, not only in college, but in the ACC in order to produce. And he was very productive, but I'm not in on Chris Bell. He'd be a day 3 guy for me. Chris Brazzell is one of the guys I'm so high on. Out of all of the big bodied receivers, your Denzel Boston, your Malachi Fields, your Jacoby Lanes, Chris Brazzell separates the best out of all of them. He has a really, really ridiculous catch radius. He ran an elite time. He can stretch the field, but he can't line up in the slot. Who cares, bro? Who cares? He can line up outside. He is your prototypical X receiver, and he's a more fluid route runner. He has a better release package. You can't press this guy at the line of scrimmage, and he's a better route runner than all of the other 6'5", huge, big, your prototypical X receivers that the league has strayed away from a little bit. He's fluid in his routes, very active hands, very physical at the catch point, always jumps when catching passes, which isn't ideal because he's not going to give you much after the catch from that sense. But really, really long strides, late hands, great at creating last second separation when the ball is in the air as well. He kind of moves. Like, I see a little bit of Justin Jefferson in the way he strides, obviously not in the route running, but in the way he strides, the way he I'm just saying, the way he breaks down. There's a little bit of it in there. And you know what I'm talking about. Jettas has a really certain movement in the way he runs his routes that it just jumps off the screen. I also didn't talk about DeJon Stribling. I stay away from Ole Miss wide receivers in the Lane Kiffin offense. I just do. I haven't watched a whole lot of DeJon Stribling to be completely fucking honest. But yeah, that's where we're leaving it at that. Elijah Surratt, not touching him with a 10-foot pole, can't get open. He has great hands. He has good body control. And he's produced every single step of the way. There is no debating that. 2023 at JMU, 1,100 yards. 2024, 957 yards at Indiana. 2025, 830 yards at Indiana. 12 yards a catch in 25, 18 yards a catch in 24, 14 and a half yards a catch in 23 at JMU. The guy's been productive. You can't say that, but he can't separate. He can't separate versus good corners. He's a physical receiver. He's a back shoulder merchant. He can maybe be a red zone threat, maybe be a Mike Williams type of ceiling, but he just can't separate. He's not as athletic as Mike Williams is either. I'm not in on Elijah Surratt whatsoever. He simply does not get open. Let's talk about Mr. Casey Concepcion. This is my favorite wide receiver in this draft class besides Jordan Tyson. I don't think he's better than Lemon or Tate, but I think you're going to get some really, really good value with Concepcion. He's my wide receiver 4. If he drops into that mid-20s, maybe even he's not going to make it to these. He should be a first-round guy. Elite separator, elite after the catch, does have concentration drop problems. You know my stance on concentration drops. I don't give a fuck. They're fixable. Romeo Dobbs has them. He just got paid $20 million a year. I've said that a million times. I've been spamming that line all day. Marcel Reed sold Casey Concepcion of a Biletnikoff. He should have had an extra 500 yards and maybe 3, 4, 5 touchdowns and another 20 catches, 10 catches, 15 catches. The dude's unbelievable. Really fast twitch, really good off the line of scrimmage, really good in the stem of his routes, solid hands, better contested catchability than people give him credit for. Disgusting after the catch. The best receiver, the best corners in the league, Mansour Delane couldn't stay with him. He's unbelievable. Let's talk about Denzel Boston. Did not separate well in man coverage versus Ohio State's Noah Igohinabase, however you say them. Good catch radius, though, and very physical at the catch point. There's a rep where an Oregon linebacker is lined up on him in the slot. He runs from step for step in man coverage down the field. That can't happen. That's not going to translate in the league. All his separation came from a lot of schemed advantages, especially in the red zone. I thought, okay, this guy had a bunch of touchdowns. We're going to see a bunch of fade balls. No, it was just a bunch of rub routes and quick slants in the red zone, which fair enough. Run a quick slant with your 6'3" receiver who can just box guys out, and he has incredible hands, which he does. He has a really, really solid frame. There's a reason he's my wide receiver 7, but he doesn't quite move as fluidly as a Chris Brazzell does. And Jacoby Lane and Denzel Boston are very similar receivers, in my opinion. I have Denzel Boston above Jacoby Lane slightly because I do think he's a little bit of a better separator. Both of them draw a ridiculous amount of pass interference. But Jacoby Lane also very physical at the catch point, strong hands, can box out defenders, smooth route runner, inconsistent separator, good head fakes on double moves. But again, he was on an offense with Makai Lemon, and this is a two-way street, right? Jacoby Lane was on an offense with Makai Lemon and Hines, so there's not going to be a lot of defensive attention on him. You have to worry about the other guys. Denzel Boston was the only receiver on that offense. But again, you also had to take into account for Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman on that Washington offense as well. So it's not like they were one-dimensional Denzel Boston and Prey type of offense. Like there was multiple things you had to watch out for. And I understand the argument. We're like, okay, Jacoby Lane had Hines and Makai Lemon, but Jordan Mailata, it was a pocket passing offense. They didn't run the ball a whole lot. So I think I have Denzel Boston slightly over Jacoby Lane, but Jacoby Lane is a physical beast. He's a presence. I don't think he has the speed. Let me see, actually, real quick. Let me get these guys 40 times in front of me. I probably should have had that at the start of the video, or I should have had this prepared, but I can pull it up really fast here just to get a feel. I don't know if we ever got an official time on Jacoby Lane. But as far as Denzel Boston, he's in the 4.6s. So 6'4", 212, 4.6. Zachariah Branch ran in the 4.35s. That's pretty nasty, but he could find his way on this list for sure. Like I wouldn't be shocked, but I just don't know what to do with him. 177, 5'9". There's just not a whole lot. Jacoby Lane was a 4.47 at 6'4". That's kind of, I didn't know he ran that time, and it shows up. He stretches the field for sure. He stretches the field for sure. There are also some shouts on here like Deion Burks, who obviously ran the 4.3. I'm not that enthralled with Deion Burks, quite frankly. I have not watched any of Ted Hurst, was at Georgia State. DeJon Stribling ran 4.36. NFL Draft Buzz has him as the wide receiver 18, which is like really, really low. CJ Daniels, Malik Benson are some solid players as well later in this draft. I'm just looking at the guys that I didn't really do any homework on. Aaron Anderson all the way down here. He ran a 4.58, bro. Fuck, dude. How did this guy how did he run a 4.58 at 5'8", bro? He looks so much faster than that on tape. That's insane. Chase Roberts from BYU. That guy had some highlights. Okay, either way, I'm getting sidetracked here. Denzel Boston didn't separate that well versus man coverage. Oregon linebacker ran a 4.6. Jacoby Lane and him are in similar scenarios. I think Boston's a better route runner. Jacoby Lane obviously has a better stretch the field speed. Where's my Jeremy Bernard? I didn't have Jeremy Bernard on here. Yeah, okay. I think Jeremy Bernard is a guy that's going to get a lot of hype because of the Alabama name, whatever. Very scheme dependent in that Ryan Grubb offense that I alluded to earlier in the video, talking about Ty Simpson. They're very schemed open a lot, very scheme dependent. A lot of his production came from the benefit of a good scheme, but he's also a good route runner. He's really, really good after the catch. There's one, I forget, I want to say it was against, I don't remember who it was, but there was one play where we caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage and made like 4 fucking guys miss. It was one of the nastiest plays I've seen. Really good game against Vanderbilt. He's a good player. He's a good player, good college player, good yak, good athlete. Took a good amount of handoffs, pretty good yak. I think Yak's is number one. I keep saying yak, but I think he's good after the catch. The route running's solid. The hands are inconsistent. I have him as my wide receiver, like 8. Either way. Then we have the big dogs, Omar Cooper Jr. I'm obviously really, really bullish on Omar Cooper Jr. I've been bullish on him for a while. Great separator, one of the best route runners in this year's class. Great hands. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about him ad nauseum. I don't want to just repeat myself. Makai Lemon, I think, is closer to Casey Concepcion than he is to Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson. The reason I have Jordan Tyson 1, if this is your first time listening to me talk, separation. He's the best separator in this class. He is elite after the catch. You can't press him. You can't press him at the line of scrimmage. His releases are nasty. In the stem of his routes, he sets up receivers really well. He doesn't have the ball skills at the catch point the way Makai Lemon and Carnell Tate do. And those guys are elite. They're probably the 2 best ball skills in this year's draft, especially Makai Lemon for his size, right? Because Carnell's 6'3". You should be able to moss somebody, which he can. But Makai Lemon, his ability to make some catches in some really, really tight windows, especially his ability to find the soft spots in the zone, combined with his ability like to feel leverage, like his ability to feel where corners are, find the spot, sit down, combined with his ability to make those catches in tight windows and have really, really strong hands. Like that catch against Illinois was disgusting. He had a catch against Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame's Leonard Moore was giving Makai problems at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be a problem at the next level if his head's on straight. Carnell Tate, no drops, great contested catch ability, really strong hands, great release at the line of scrimmage, great contested catch ability, sets guys up at the stems of his routes really, really well. Not too much after the catch. That's probably his weakness. I think he's a solid route runner, and obviously his ball skills are the elite trait that he has. Jordan Tyson can do it all. I mean, he's the best player in the draft. One of the best players in the draft, the best receiver in the draft, in my opinion. Let's talk about these RBs. I mean, we won't spend too much time. Jeremiah Love's the best player in this draft, in my opinion. I still wouldn't take him in the top 5 because you don't take RBs that early. You just don't. Like, think about the running backs that have gone that early over the past few years. McCaffrey on the Panthers. The Panthers stunk. Fournette to the Jaguars. The Jaguars did make the AFC Championship game, but after that, they pretty much stunk. Saquon to the Giants. The Giants stunk. Bijan to the Falcons. The Falcons have not made the playoffs since Bijan Robinson has been drafted there. They stunk. Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess, but he wasn't a top 10 pick. Ashton Jeanty last year, the Raiders stunk. I think the Raiders are going to stink again this year. Ezekiel Elliott is an outlier, but they also had a really, really good offensive line that DeMarco Murray just ran for. He led the league in rushing with the year before. They also hit on their quarterback that year with Dak Prescott. So that's a kind of a different circumstance. My point is, why would you like you not only does the money tell you, hey, if I take a running back in the top 5, they're going to be a top 10 paid RB in the league, when I could take a running back that can get similar production 6 rounds later, or not 6, but like 3 rounds later, and be a gazillion dollars cheaper. Or I could hit on a corner or an offensive tackle or a wide receiver at one of these premium positions and not have to pay them at that premium. Also, all of these other teams over the past few years that have taken running backs early, not any of them have had any real team success. So I think Jeremiah Love's the best player in the draft. You don't take him top 5. Like, you don't. I would, like, debatingly, like, the Giants at 10, I wouldn't hate it. The Commanders at 7, I wouldn't hate it. But it's just, if you have other needs, why would you take a running back this early, even if he is the best player in the draft? The way I think Jeremiah Love is, you can't just ignore positional value. You just can't do it. So I love Jeremiah Love. Jadarian Price also incredibly, I don't want to say underrated, because I think he's a little bit overrated, just locked in at that RB2 spot. I think Emmett Johnson can give him some run for his money. I think Jonah Coleman can give him a run for his money for his RB2, for the RB2, but fast, gets the edge often, good vision, good burst, physical, keeps legs moving through contact, great vision, north-south very quickly, just fucking kills people. But he had 10 catches over the last few years. What are you getting from him out of the bat? Is he a 3-down back? Can he catch Can he catch passes? Does he have a route tree? Who knows? Just because he didn't have passing production doesn't mean he doesn't have it, or receiving production doesn't mean he can't do it. Especially when you have Jeremiah Love, who's a legitimate weapon out of the backfield or lined up as a receiver. Obviously, he's not going to see those passing when you have Jeremiah Love. Emmett Johnson, my third best RB. We have a sleeper. This is another sleeper added to the list with Aaron Anderson. This is my day 3 sleeper. Emmett Johnson, unbelievable physicality, sheds tackles at an unbelievable high rate. Can't tackle this dude in a fucking phone booth. Slow, not great acceleration, and that's where we can run into some problems. Bowling ball. Great contact balance, just bounces off guys. Bell cow, can handle big workloads, not a home run hitter. So again, he lacks the top end speed, but he's violent. Liability in pass, bro. Good pass catcher, though. Limited route tree, absorbs contact. Guys just fall off of him. 250 carries, 1,400 yards in 2025, 370 receiving, 8 yards per catch, 5 yards per carry. Emmett Johnson is one of my most favorite players in this year's draft. Just an absolute bowling ball. Give me Jonah Coleman as my RB4. Smooth cuts, really, really smooth cuts, good burst, good vision. Defenders just fall off him too. And he had a really good game against Ohio State. At least the tape is good. So that means something to me. How were you against a team that's going to have 4 or 5 first round picks on their defense, and probably the entire defense will have a chance in the NFL? Smooth hands, transitioning from pass catcher from pass catcher to runner, really smooth for the RB position. Limited route tree, but he's really physical at the point of contact, just runs to your fucking face. Not good in the red zone, though, ironically enough, because I saw there was a bunch of times where Washington just got stuffed on the red zone. 5'8", 220, short, stout, can lose him really quick. The opposite of Mike Washington Jr., who did not produce for the first 4 years of his career. Just simply didn't. But then burst on in year 5, which is a little concerning. Why did it take you that long? 1,400 yards, 5 yards a carry, 46 catches for 370 yards. So he's a good receiving back. He can run through your fucking face, and he can run around you, obviously, with that 4.3 time. One cut and go back, big, physical, fast, not incredibly fluid catching the ball. There was a few bobbles, but very rarely does the first tackler bring him down. A lot of good wiggle. I like Mr. Mike Washington Jr. a whole lot. Honorable mentions are Katron Allen, Kalon Black, Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest. Really, really elite burst, 0 to 100 so fast. He consistently gets the edge. A lot of feast or famine, though. He either makes the guy miss and takes it to the house, or he's getting stuffed on the line of scrimmage. Not great ball carrier vision, not a whole lot of wiggle. and juke in tight spaces. Minimal as a route runner as well, but the production speaks for itself. 900 yards in 25, 1,000 yards in 2024, 5 yards a carry in 25 to 4.5 in 2024. Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest is a guy to keep an eye on. Katron Allen, I think really, really physical. I think I've taken him over Nick Singleton every day, but I like a physical back. I assume I'm more of a physical guy. And this guy gets downhill and runs through your face. Always finishes forward. 1,300 yards, Penn State rushing yardage record, 15 touchdowns. Very good vision, man. Really good stiff arm, dominant stiff arm. No passing game upside. Doubt he'll make guys miss in open space a whole lot at the NFL level. But man, will he run through you, and can he wear you down for a few quarters? So those are the skill position players. Oh, I guess we still have to talk about the tight ends. Eli Stowers is better than Kenyon Sadiq, and I'm tired of pretending that he is not. Not only was this guy more productive, not only was this guy a better route runner, but this guy's also only 3 years into playing the position. 3 years in, he was a quarterback at Texas A&M and New Mexico State. Great hands, really savvy route runner, really productive. Only been a tight end for 3 years. Like I said, good at boxing receivers out at the catch point. Academic Heisman finalist, smart guy, 638 yards in 24, 768 yards, creates a lot of pass interference penalties. Eli Stowers is a dog. I'd rather take him. He's another sleeper, day 2 sleeper. Whoever takes him, I think, is in really, really good hands, especially with the value you're getting him at compared to Kenyon Sadiq, who obviously has a higher ceiling. But Sadiq's yak doesn't show up against elite competition. It just doesn't. Like, yeah, you can hurdle guys in the MAC, but can you hurdle guys against Indiana, Oregon, or like Indiana? No, you can't. Not great route running. Like, it's not good up the middle of the field. Like, he has good hands. I will give him that. He has good hands. The speed is awesome. Obviously, he shattered the combine record for the 40. He gets vertical really fast, so that's going to be a challenge for any safety when he's on the field. He brings you a level of vertical threat at the tight end position that even in the NFL, not a lot of guys can bring you. So there is value there, and I don't think he's a bust. But taking him in the top 20 would be ludicrous to me. I think he's a day 2, early day 2, late first round type of guy. In my mind, I think Sadiq and Stowers is really close. I would take Stowers in the second or third over Sadiq, but obviously you can't ignore Sadiq's ceiling, even though Stowers has a really high ceiling in his own right. Let's talk about the tackles. Here's how I rank them. I have Miller out of Clemson at 6. I have Monroe Freeling at 7. I have Caleb Tiernan at 8 from Northwestern. I have Maxi Anachor at 5 out of Arizona State. He's really raw. He needs a lot of help. I have Caden Proctor at 4, Caleb Lomu at 3, Spencer Fano at 2, Francis Mauigoa at 1. I think all 6 of these guys, 7 of these guys could be first round picks. I don't think that's crazy. Really deep tackle class. I love me Miller out of how am I forgetting his first name? Let me pull it up. Either way, he's an all-state wrestler, all-state track and field guy. Did not allow a sack. He's not that good against the run. That's the only problem, especially compared to these other guys. But in pass pro, he's really fluid. He gets into his passing sets really quick. Once he gets his hand on you, you're basically neutralized. Maxi Anachor out of Arizona State. Really good reps against David Bailey. Really bad reps against David Bailey. Really good reps against Romello Heights, the other defensive end for Texas Tech. He started playing football in JUCO a few years ago. Developmental prospect, but went toe-to-toe with Heights and Bailey after picking up the sport 4 years ago. That screams Howie Roseman guy. It just does. Similar scenario with Jordan Mailata, right? Who was a 7th round rugby player, turned into an all-pro left tackle, right? But I think the ceiling for Ian Achor is incredibly high. Caden Proctor, freak. Also needs to sit a year, really raw, not fluid with his movement, but once he learns how to move, he's going to be unstoppable. The Niners, look out for the Niners to have him to sit behind Trent Williams for a few years. Yikes. Caleb Lomu, Spencer Fano, both studs, both dominated for the most part in their matchups against David Bailey and Romello Heights. And then Francis Mauigoa is not the most physically imposing as some of these guys, but fuck is he nasty, bro. He is just so consistent. His hands pack a legitimate punch. He is a problem. Interior offensive line, some of the centers to keep an eye on: Jake Slaughter, Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. Slaughter's the best, pretty consensus number 1. Trey Zune out of Texas A&M as well. But let's talk about these interior offensive linemen, man. These are some of my favorite players to watch because they just dominate in the run game. Let's start with Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. He's one of my favorite sleepers in this year's draft. I think whoever gets this guy is getting a stud at the interior offensive line position. Can be a day one starter. He was on an Iowa offensive line that won the award for the best offensive line in the country. He does have some frame concerns. He's not the longest. He's not the tallest, but he's dominant when he gets his hands on you, man. So dominant. He's just so strong. The grip strength is insane. You can't shed this guy. 4-year starter. Great showing at the Senior Bowl as well. Won the Joe Moore with his offensive line. Like I said, was all academic, was a smart physical player who's going to fall because of the size concerns. His lateral quickness, not the greatest. He can struggle against some quick D tackles, but man, when he gets his hands on you, look the fuck out. Olavide Guyana is the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. I don't think it's that close. Pagnon out of Oregon, good athletic freak. Basantis out of Texas A&M, solid player as well. Those guys should be second round, maybe even late first round picks. But my favorite player in this year's draft that is not going to go, that might be a day 3 sleeper. Day 3 sleeper we're talking here. None other than Billy Schrauth out of the University of Notre Dame. 6'5", 310, great run blocker, elite run blocker, elite pass blocker, very physical, constantly looking for bodies in the second level. His hands just pack a punch. Constantly he's putting people on their ass. It's just a pancake after pancake after pancake. And they ran Jeremiah Love right up his ass. Dominant in pass pro. Didn't see him lose a pass rushing set. His pad level can get high at times, which could be a problem. Could be a problem against NFL level defensive tackles, but it wasn't a consistent thing. He's disgusting. Billy Schrauth, the reason he's going to fall, ankle injury in 2020 or 2024, MCL sprain in 2025, shut him down for the final 5 games. Health is the biggest concern. He did not allow a sack and only allowed 2 hurries in 7 games in 2025. Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame is going to be a Pro Bowl level interior offensive lineman, day 1 starter. He was dominant. I don't know why he's not being talked about more. Did we watch the same tape? He's unbelievable. Only allowed 2 hurries in 7 games in 2025. So he's an elite pass blocker, an elite run blocker. The only concerns are the injuries. And that's why, like, listen, I understand that. I don't value, like, the injury risk doesn't matter to me. I'll fucking risk it for the biscuit all the time when it comes to players' ceiling. And this guy's got legitimate Pro Bowl, all-pro type of talent, and you're getting him in the 3rd, 4th round because of a MCL and an ankle injury. Listen, it's not his shoulder. It's not his shoulder. It's not his hands. That's most important. Obviously, the base is important too. So that's just ignorant of me to say that, something like that. But still, I love me some Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame, ladies and gentlemen. Will that do it? Will that do it? Is that all the positions? Did we talk about everybody I wanted to talk about? I don't know if we did. I think we did. I think that'll do it. So let me just recap. My favorite sleepers at each position. The tackle, I don't really have one. Like, I guess Maxi Iheanacho, I have him as a top 5 player, a top 5 tackle, but I don't have a sleeper tackle. Jennings Dunker from Iowa and Billy Schrauth for Notre Dame. And then as far as the receiver sleepers go, Aaron Anderson. Antonio Williams is a little bit of a sleeper as well. Fast, 4.4 speed. Good middle of the field slot receiver, but I'm not as high on him as I am on like some of these other sleepers. I think Williams could be like a 3rd round pick, but Antonio Williams, I think, can be a really good player, really good tracking the ball. And I also had Aaron Anderson on here before I saw his 4.56 40 time or whatever, 4.6 40 time or whatever it was. It was awful. But either way, Antonio Williams is a guy out of Clemson. I'll add him to the sleepers. Eli Stowers, sleeper. I think he's better than Kenyon Sadiq. Garrett Nussmeier is my sleeper. Emmett Johnson is my running back. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe. Tomorrow I'll have a whole same deal, but with the defensive side of the ball. And I will also have a 3-round mock draft for the boys. So I love you guys. Hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys.